The galaxy believed Earth was finished. For decades, humanity had lived in silence. Their fleets were small, their colonies scattered, their weapons seemingly outdated. Other civilizations called them irrelevant. Some laughed openly, saying Earth was a shadow of its past, a relic in a galaxy that had moved on. So when the great empire turned its eyes toward Earth, it saw only weakness. From their command halls, alien admirals studied the Sol system. Their reports were confident. Earth's defenses looked fragile. A few orbital cannons, some civilian satellites, and tiny patrol ships that were no threat to anyone. Defenseless, they said. An easy victory. And with those words, the order was given. The invasion begins. The alien fleet crossed into human space with no hesitation. Hundreds of warships, bristling with weapons, cut through the void like a storm of fire. Their crews were eager, certain that this mission would be quick. Earth will kneel, their commander declared, and the galaxy will see our strength. They came in formation, proud and arrogant. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, all moving as one. Their engines glowed, painting the darkness with streaks of silver light. To them, this was not war. This was a parade. They expected no resistance. The silence of Earth as the fleet approached Earth, the planet seemed quiet. Cities continued to glow under the night sky. Civilian traffic moved through orbit. Satellites circled slowly, carrying out their tasks. From orbit, Earth looked peaceful, unaware, defenseless. The alien admiral laughed. Pathetic, he said. No shields, no fleet, no fight. His officers agreed. To them it was almost disappointing. Where was the challenge? Where was the glory? The galaxy, too, was watching. Hidden channels carried the invasion feeds across countless worlds. Billions of eyes stared as Earth faced destruction. Many whispered, "The humans cannot survive this." The hidden watchers, but beneath the calm surface of Earth, deep in places no alien eye had ever seen, humanity was listening. In underground bunkers, leaders stood before glowing screens. They watched the alien fleet moving closer, its weapons primed. They listened to the laughter of their enemies, the arrogance in their voices, and they waited. For centuries, Earth had been preparing for this moment. While the galaxy mocked their silence, they built in shadows. While others dismissed them as weak, they forged weapons unlike anything ever seen. They let the galaxy believe the lie. They let them believe Earth was defenseless. But weakness was the mask. The first tremor far beneath the oceans, something stirred. In the black waters, shadows moved. Massive shapes hidden for generations began to rise. Dreadnoughts, their armored hulls scarred from wars long past, powered on for the first time in centuries. Engines hummed, weapons glowed, the seas boiled as titans surfaced, their colossal forms breaking through the waves. What looked like empty oceans now thundered with power. High above, on the far side of the moon, massive hangars opened. Doors that had been sealed for ages split apart, releasing warships into the void. There, engines ignited, sending ripples across the black, and in the cold reaches of Jupiter's orbit, giant shipyards came alive. Hundreds of massive reactors flared, feeding life into hulks the size of cities. The galaxy thought Earth was silent, but Earth was whispering, and its whispers were thunder. The enemy's blindness, the alien fleet saw none of it. Their sensors picked up faint anomalies, energy spikes, unusual signals, but they dismissed them. Relics, one officer said. Scraps of their old wars. Nothing that matters. The admiral nodded. Their fleet is gone. They have nothing left. But then a strange unease crept through the crew. Communications flickered, navigation systems stuttered. For a moment, the stars themselves seemed to shift. Just interference, the admiral said firmly. But his voice was not steady. Something was wrong. The shadow moves out beyond Neptune's orbit. A shadow moved. It was vast, so vast that it blotted out the starlight as it passed. Alien sensors screamed, but before any report could be sent, the shadow vanished into the dark. A scout ship tried to pursue. Its crew caught a single glimpse of a hull larger than anything they had ever seen. Symbols, sharp and ancient, glowed across its side. They never sent their report. In a flash of light, the scout was gone. Back in the fleet, officers whispered nervously, "Sir, we are not alone." The admiral silenced them. "They are tricks, nothing more. Prepare to fire." But his hands trembled. The calm. Before the storm on Earth, the leaders gave a single command. Wait. They watched the alien fleet close in, confident and blind. They let them believe the lie until the very last second, because the moment of truth was coming, and when it arrived, the galaxy would remember forever. The alien fleet spread across Earth's skies like a dark curtain. Their ships glowed with power, their weapons aimed downward. From orbit, the planet looked fragile, a jewel waiting to be crushed. The admiral of the Empire smiled coldly. "This will be quick," he declared. "Within hours, Earth will burn, and the galaxy will know." The cost of defiance, his officers cheered. Soldiers aboard the ship celebrated, certain that victory was already theirs. They had seen no resistance, no fleets rising to challenge them. To them, humanity was prey. But prey does not make the stars tremble. Strange signals in the outer Sol system near Neptune and Pluto, sensors began to pick up unusual spikes. Faint readings at first. Energy fields, unexplained vibrations, anomalies that didn't fit normal patterns. One officer frowned. "Sir, the scans are irregular. Massive power surges, thousands of times higher than planetary defenses should. Generate." The admiral waved his hand. "Old technology. Broken reactors. The humans cling to relics. Ignore it." But the officer hesitated. The signals were too strong, too deliberate. And they were moving, scouts in the dark. The Empire sent scout ships to investigate. The first scout never returned. Its last transmission was a burst of static, followed by a single flash of red light across the void. Then, silence. The second scout fared no better. It captured a blurred image before its systems failed, a shadow in the dark, larger than a city, moving without sound. The image ended abruptly as the ship disappeared from every channel. The admiral grew angry. "Human tricks," he snapped. "They are trying to frighten us with illusions." But fear was already spreading among the crews. The unease spreads across the Empire's fleet, whispers began. Soldiers spoke in low voices about the scouts. They remembered the old tales, stories of Earth's ancient fleets, ships that vanished into myth. Some said humanity had once fought wars that shook entire sectors, that their dreadnoughts had been too powerful, too dangerous, and so they had hidden them away. The admiral dismissed the stories. "Legends," he spat. "The humans are weak. They have nothing left." But in his private chamber, when no one was watching, he studied the blurred scout image again. His hands shook, the human silence on Earth. Leaders watched the invaders tighten their grip. They could have unleashed their fleet already. They could have destroyed the enemy before they reached orbit, but they did not. Instead, they waited. They listened to the enemy mock them. They let the Empire believe the lie, because Earth's greatest weapon was not just its ships, it was the illusion of weakness. And when the truth was revealed, the blow would be devastating. The vanishing patrols soon. Alien patrols near Jupiter began to vanish. One squadron reported movement in the dark, then screamed before cutting out. Another detected a faint energy signature, only to find nothing but shadows. Minutes later, their signals were gone. Each time, the admiral grew more furious. But the crews grew more afraid. They began to look at the stars differently, as if shadows themselves were alive. One officer whispered, "We are not alone here. The humans are watching." The gathering storm in hidden shipyards deep beneath the icy crust of Europa, war factories burned with light. Massive reactors powered up, feeding life into colossal hulls. Pilots ran through corridors, crews took their stations, weapon systems roared awake. The galaxy thought Earth was defenseless, but in truth, Earth had been building in silence for generations. Every moon, Every asteroid, every deep ocean trench was a cradle for war. And now, the cradles were emptying. The first glimpse one patrol ship finally caught it. Just before its destruction, its cameras focused on something impossible. A warship, kilometers long, armored in dark metal, bristling with weapons that glowed like suns. Symbols lined its hull, carved deep and ancient, markings of battles no alien alive could remember. It moved with silence, but its presence was thunder. The image was broadcast for only seconds before the patrol ship was erased. But those seconds were enough. The image spread through the fleet like fire, and fear followed. The cracks and arrogance. The alien admiral slammed his fists on the command console. Lies, tricks. The humans cannot have ships like this. But the whispers would not stop. His crew spoke of death fleets hidden in shadows, of humanity's true power waiting to strike. Even his officers exchanged nervous glances. What if it's true? One muttered. The admiral silenced them with threats, but his own eyes betrayed him. He had seen the image too. He had felt the weight of that shadow. It was no trick. The ominous glow as night fell on Earth. Civilians looked up at the sky. Many saw nothing but stars, but some noticed something strange, a faint glow on the horizon of space, like a sunrise. But there was no sun there. It grew brighter, slowly, steadily, as if hundreds of engines were awakening at once. The people of Earth understood. The fleet was stirring. The Empire's fleet hung over Earth like a blade. Hundreds of warships orbited the planet, weapons armed, their commanders smiling in arrogance. They believed the humans were beaten before the fight had even begun. In the Admiral's chamber, officers laughed as they watched Earth's cities glow peacefully below. No defenses, one sneered. No fleets, no hope. The Admiral leaned back in his chair. Signal the galaxy, he said. Let them watch as Earth falls. Billions across distant worlds tuned in. To them it was already over. Humanity, the so-called warriors of legend, would be erased in a single strike, but legends never die so easily. The silence breaks. The order was given. Alien ships began to descend toward Earth, ready to unleash fire. And then, the silence shattered. From the depths of the oceans, colossal shapes rose. The waters boiled as massive dreadnoughts, hidden for centuries, broke through the waves. Their hulls gleamed with ancient scars, their cannons glowing with deadly light. From the shadows of the moon, vast hangars cracked open. Warships poured out, engines roaring like thunder. From the far reaches of Jupiter's orbit, titans the size of cities emerged, each one a moving fortress. Their reactors blazed like newborn stars. In seconds, the lie of weakness was broken. Earth was not defenseless. Earth had been waiting. The first volley, the alien admiral's smile vanished. His sensors screamed as hundreds of human warships appeared at once, surrounding his fleet from every direction. They were hidden, one officer stammered. Fire, the admiral roared. But the humans fired first. The lead dreadnought unleashed a beam that split the void. A battleship of the Empire disintegrated instantly, erased from existence. Its wreckage didn't even drift, there was nothing left. The rest of the human fleet joined in. Rail cannons thundered. Missile swarms streaked through the black, chasing their targets with unerring precision. Entire squadrons of alien destroyers vanished in the first strike. The galaxy watches, across countless worlds, beings leaned closer to their screens, their disbelief turning to shock. The humans, someone whispered. They still have dreadnoughts. But these were no ordinary ships. These were monsters of steel, built for one purpose: annihilation. Each human shot was precise, merciless. Alien formations shattered like glass. Fleets that once inspired terror were now nothing but burning wreckage. The legend of Earth was no longer myth. It was alive, unfolding before their eyes. The desperate counterattack. The alien admiral screamed orders. All ships, return fire. Cannons lit. filling space with storms of plasma and energy. The sky seemed to collapse under the weight of their fury, but humanity's shields held. The dreadnoughts cut through the fire like predators through waves. Their formations did not falter. Then came the counterstrike. Human carriers released endless swarms of fighters, sleek and fast, darting between enemy ships. They struck with surgical precision, tearing engines apart, disabling weapons, finishing stragglers. Alien crews panicked. Some tried to flee, only to be caught in the trap. Others fired wildly, but their shots vanished against the humans' defenses. The hunters had become the hunted. The Admiral's terror in the Empire's flagship. The Admiral's arrogance crumbled. These ships, they should not exist, Hume whispered. His hands shook. His eyes darted across the chaos as his fleet burned around him. An officer grabbed his arm. What do we do? The Admiral could only stare at the giant silhouette of a human Judicator-class dreadnought, its weapons glowing, its engines burning like the wrath of gods. For the first time in his career, he felt fear. The trap closes. The battle turned into slaughter. Human dreadnoughts advanced in perfect silence, cutting off every escape. Smaller cruisers and frigates darted in from behind, boxing the alien fleet in. The Empire's proud armada, once so confident, was trapped like prey in a cage. Every attempt to break through failed. Every counterstrike was crushed. The aliens had believed Earth was weak, but they had walked into humanity's jaws. One by one, their ships fell, until the void was filled with nothing but fire and ruin. The message sent. When the last alien ship exploded, the humans did not cheer. Their fleet held formation, silent and still, like predators waiting for the next hunt. But the galaxy was already trembling. Footage of the battle had been broadcast everywhere. Billions of eyes watched as the impossible happened. Earth, thought to be powerless, had destroyed a mighty empire's fleet in minutes. The message was clear. Humanity was not defenseless. Humanity was the storm. The void was still burning when the last enemy ship was erased. Wreckage drifted like broken bones across the black sky. Earth's dreadnoughts hovered in silence, their colossal frames glowing faintly, as if waiting for their next command. The galaxy held its breath. What they had witnessed was impossible. Humanity, once mocked as weak, had just crushed a fleet that should have been untouchable. Entire civilizations whispered in shock. The humans are back. But Earth was not done. The first strike had been only a warning. The storm had only begun. The advance begins orders spread across the human fleet. Engines roared, cutting through the silence. Dreadnoughts aligned in flawless formation, their shadows blotting out the stars. Carriers released waves of fighters that swarmed like steel predators. Cruisers and destroyers tightened the net. The Admiral of Earth gave a single command: push forward, and the armada obeyed. The humans did not wait for the Empire's next move. They surged into enemy space, determined to tear down the very heart of their oppressors. The Empire and panic news spread faster than light. The Empire's high command, once arrogant, now trembled in disbelief. Their fleet was gone, erased in moments. In war rooms across the Empire, commanders argued, their voices filled with fear. Some demanded retreat, others screamed for reinforcement. But no one had answers. They were supposed to be defenseless, one whispered. Then why? Another asked, pale and shaking. Do they command ships that blot out suns? But it was too late. Humanity's dreadnoughts were already coming. System by system, the first border system fell in a single day. Human dreadnoughts cut through orbital defenses like paper. Stations cracked apart. Fleets scattered, leaving only ashes behind. The second system lasted hours. Fighters swarmed across the skies, striking with surgical precision. Every attempt at resistance was crushed before it even began. The third system never even fired a shot. Their commanders saw the dreadnoughts arrive and surrendered instantly. But surrender was not enough. Humanity did not come for peace. Humanity came for judgment. The power revealed. The Judicator-class dreadnoughts led the way. Each one was a moving apocalypse, bristling with weapons unseen by the galaxy in ages. When they fired, stars seemed to dim. Entire enemy formations vanished in silence, erased by beams that bent space itself. But these were not weapons of conquest. They were weapons of wrath. They did not strike blindly. They struck with purpose, targeting every symbol of Empire pride, dismantling every stronghold, erasing every reminder of arrogance. The Empire's people watched in horror as their invincible military collapsed before their eyes. The fear spreads across neutral worlds. Silence ruled. Civilizations that once mocked humanity now tightened their borders, terrified they might be next. No one dared provoke Earth now. Merchants whispered stories in shadowed markets. Refugees spoke of human dreadnoughts the size of cities, of fleets that moved with the silence of hunters, of weapons that devoured entire armadas. The galaxy no longer doubted. Humanity was no myth. Humanity was vengeance. The enemy's desperation. The Empire tried to gather its remaining fleets. Tens of thousands of ships converged near a fortress world, forming a wall of steel around their capital. This will stop them, their leader said. Here, the humans will break. But their soldiers were not so certain. They remembered the first clash. They remembered how quickly their fleets had fallen. Some whispered of desertion. Others prayed to gods who no longer listened, because deep inside they knew, walls cannot stop storms. The final push Earth's armada arrived without a sound. The dreadnoughts loomed at the edge of the system, their weapons glowing, their formations unshakable. The Empire's fleets opened fire, desperate, furious, terrified. A storm of plasma, missiles, and beams filled the void, shaking planets themselves. But humanity did not falter. Their shields held, their lines advanced. Step by step, closer and closer, until the void lit up with the fire of retribution. When, the humans answered, the galaxy itself seemed to tremble. Thousands of alien ships exploded in a single volley. Carriers unleashed fighters that tore through defenses like blades. The judicators fired, and an entire enemy moon converted into a fortress collapsed into dust. The wrath of Earth, the galaxy watched through hidden broadcasts. Billions of voices fell silent as they saw the Empire's might reduced to nothing. This was no war. This was punishment. Humanity had been underestimated, mocked, forgotten. Now they were the storm, and the storm spared nothing. One Empire officer, moments before his ship exploded, whispered the truth that would echo across every star. Earth was never defenseless. We were. The Empire was crumbling. World after world had fallen. Fleets that once stretched across the stars were nothing but ashes. Their mighty capital, once thought untouchable, now stood exposed. In the great chambers of the Empire's rulers, fear replaced pride. The walls shook with endless arguments. Some screamed for negotiation, others demanded surrender. None dared to speak the truth aloud. The war was already lost. And still Earth's armada advanced. The plea for mercy. When the humans reached the edge of the capital system, the Empire finally broke. A desperate transmission filled the void. Surrender. Do you hear us, humans? We surrender. The voices were trembling, frantic. We admit our mistake. Spare our worlds and we will pay tribute. Spare our fleets and we will never rise against you again. Across the galaxy, billions listened. For the first time in history, the Empire begged, but the humans gave no reply. The dreadnoughts only moved forward. The last defense in a final act of desperation, the Empire threw everything it had into the void. Tens of thousands of ships, hastily, rebuilt, old and new, formed a living shield around their capital world. Cannons charged, engines roared, the commanders shouted, "If we fall here, the Empire dies. Hold the line." But their soldiers had no faith. They had seen the broadcasts. They had heard the whispers. And when the first human silhouette appeared in the distance, dark, colossal, merciless, they felt only dread. The storm arrives, Earth's fleet unfolded like wings of steel. Dreadnoughts filled the horizon, their cannons glowing with power. Carriers released endless waves of fighters darting like fire through the dark. At the center stood the Judicators, titans whose weapons bent space itself. The humans did not speak. They did not threaten. They simply advanced. The Empire fired first. The void lit with fury as every weapon unleashed at once. Explosions shook the system. Stars themselves seemed to flicker. When the fire cleared, the humans were still there. Shields held, formations unbroken. Then came the answer. The Judicators fired, and the battle ended before it began. The fall of the Empire, entire lines of alien warships disintegrated. Fortress stations shattered like glass. Fleets tried to flee, but the humans cut off every path. The storm moved forward, cold and precise. Dreadnoughts tore through their lines. Fighters swarmed across their defenses. Missiles streaked in perfect patterns, striking every weak point. The Empire's last wall crumbled in hours. The capital world, once the jewel of their power, now lay bare. Its skies darkened as human warships filled the heavens. The voice of humanity, for the first time, the humans spoke. A single message, broadcast across every channel in the galaxy. You thought Earth was defenseless. You thought humanity was weak. You were wrong. The voice was steady, cold as iron. You destroyed our friends. You mocked our silence. Now you face the cost of your arrogance. We do not forget. We do not forgive. The message ended. The Dreadnoughts fired. The judgment. The capital burned, towers crumbled, fleets vaporized, defenses erased in a storm of fire. The screams of the Empire filled the void, echoing across every channel until only silence remained. The Empire was no more. Its pride had been shattered, its fleets erased, its leaders dust. And Earth did not stay. The Dreadnoughts turned, their engines glowing faintly as they departed the ruins. They did not conquer, they did not claim. They left nothing but a warning carved into the stars. The galaxy remembers. In the days that followed, the galaxy was silent. Civilizations that once mocked humanity now bowed their heads in fear. Merchants whispered of dreadnoughts so vast they could blot out suns. Refugees spoke of weapons that could erase moons in seconds. The legend spread faster than light. Earth is not weak. Earth is the storm. And every ruler, every soldier, every world remembered the final image. The silent human fleet leaving the ruins of an empire behind, engines glowing like fire against the dark.